It is 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was picked up as the second traveler in this jeep. Akshay from Mumbai has been picked up before me, and now the vehicle is heading to another resort on the way to Ranthambore Forest Gate. At the next resort, while the passengers were picked up, the child demanded seating in the front row, and the guide happily gave his seat to the child, and he came to the middle row to be seated along with the parents. Today, our safari is inside Zone 1, and it may last up to 7 o'clock in the evening, as it's the peak summer season and it will be bright and visibility will be there till very late. I have traveled through various tiger reserves inside the country, and from my personal opinion, though we will be able to see close-up sights of wildlife in all forests, Ranthambore is the best place to see the wild animals in action than any other forest, mainly due to its geographical peculiarity. We have seen numerous wildlife clips of the predators moving with the kill in their jaws and other movements with the cubs and many more. Along with the wildlife sites, the high-rise mountains, the valleys below the mountains, the remains of ancient forts built by the Rajaputras, and the nature views altogether makes Ranthambore special than any other forest in the country. It is recorded that about 70 to 80 tigers are inside Ranthambore Tiger Reserve. However, in the tourism areas, we get to see very few of them, maybe about 15 to 20 tigers approximately, including the newborn cubs to various mothers. Once they are grown up, most of these cubs also may move inside the vast forest region in the core areas. As everyone knows, Ranthambore is most famous for the tigers in it, and there are many tigers in each zones, but they are not limited to be sighted in single zone all the time. In Zone 1, there are T39 Noor, T105 Noori, T107 Sultana and her cubs, T101 Badal Male. These tigers are quite often seen in Zone 1, and sometimes Noori's young daughter is also sighted. This time, the weather is extreme hot and all my equipments were getting heated up due to the hot weather, direct sunlight and blowing wind. I had to keep on rotating cameras and gimbals while traveling and recording in order to avoid them getting damaged due to overheating. Over the last few months, I have made more than 10 safaris in this Ranthambore. However, this is the first time I am traveling through Zone 1. The landscape in this Zone 1 area seemed different for me than all other zones. Though there are greenery visible even in this summer, lots of stones and rocks are scattered all around the region. And the jungle path is also heavily stoned, and hence the ride was extremely bumpy, and really I struggled to hold my camera without shaking. The first sight we got this time is also the sambar deer herd. Near a small man-made waterhole, many sambar deers, spotted deers were grazing, and some of them were resting on the ground, and few birds were also seen close by. The chirping of the birds are the only sound in the nature now, and everything else is quiet and calm. We ignored and passed by many sights of herds of spotted deers and sambar deers on the way. We travelled again and reached to another water body. One more jeep was stopped there waiting for the alarm calls of the deers or the langurs. We also stopped our jeep and waited there for a while. As we travel through different parts of this Ranthambore forest, we get to see different types of herbivorous animal sightings. In some areas, it may be groups of male or female nilgais, and in other areas, it may be herds of spotted deer. We noticed today more sambar deers are moving through this zone abundantly. And here also, near to the water body, we saw few sambar deers wandering in the wilderness. After a while, we moved little ahead for another half kilometers and we stopped there. The guide was briefing about the Ranthambore forest and other local information to Akshay and other passengers. And during this time, I concentrated on all the wildlife movements around us and it was a beauty. We could spot various birds, animals on the ground and it confirmed that there is no any wild cats around us. Still, we waited for any distant calls or messages from other vehicles, which we may or may not get as the network connectivity was almost nil. A peacock, many small birds, spotted deers, and another langur mum with a baby was also walking around. The forest floor is a cuisine of its own for all the animals. There were a small troop of langurs around. Langurs are the quite common sight in any wildlife safari. Since I had time, I concentrated on their movements closely. The langurs like sitting on the ground and walking around while it is safe to do so, especially when there are no dangers around. Mostly, some may remain on tree tops and makes the alarm calls for those who are on the ground when the enemies are approached. As the mother sat on the ground, the male langur went close to her and started the grooming works. Removing ectoparasites from one another keeps their social structures and bonds. Another elder child is allowed a little space to explore on their own on the ground while the small one is still tied up to the mother. Also in the frame there is another peacock, a sambar deer at a far distance, and a Brahmini starling bird carefully looking for its food on the ground. Watching this bird walking on the ground and the lower tree branches was good enough to spend the time usefully while we waited there. At a far distance, a sambar deer was eating leaves from the bushes and gradually it came out and did some catwalk in front of us. As it moved along, the male peafowl carelessly stood there itself. The fowl knows the sambar is not its enemy. The peacock, while he was cleaning his feather, and we all wished and expected for the beautiful sight of him dancing. However, we were unfortunate to record the scene. As we traveled along the jungle path, finally we reached to a point where the road is blocked with the iron chain so that the vehicles cannot cross there. And the guide and the driver briefed us that this is the border post between Zone 1 and Zone 6. And as we know, this rule is applicable for only for the humans and not applicable for the wildlife. Hence, the tigers of Zone 1 are often sighted at Zone 6 as well. Another jeep that came opposite to us gave us a hint that there is a leopard sighting ahead. And as we reached there, we spotted the leopard resting on the ground in between the rocks. The life of a leopard is not that easy, especially inside a tiger forest. Hunting its prey, protecting its food from the scavengers, monitoring its territories while surviving from ruling tiger in the area, and all at the same time is not an easy task. Most times, the leopards will move to the areas where the tigers are relatively less. Leopard sightings are relatively less in most safaris in the tiger reserves on comparison with tiger sightings, as they are more shy animals than the tigers. And today is such a lucky day where we get to see the leopard in such a clear vicinity. As the cat started to sleep again, lying there itself, and considering the distance and the time we need to reach the forest gate, we decided to leave the leopard there and move on. On the way, we stopped at a washroom area for 5 minutes, and it was the Rufous tree pie as the sighting we got there. This human-friendly bird is widely seen at almost all places, especially in the village areas. Then we were traveling through a valley below a huge mountain region, and there was water in the river alongside the valley. The wildlife sightings we got to see from this one place were spectacular and a perfect example of forest scenery. And the small birds fly frequently here and there. An oriental darter and a pied kingfisher perched side by side on a dried tree branch inside the river. The prey and the predator in the same forest in single frame. A huge crocodile lying on the river bank looking at the water. The spotted deers graze on the green lawns beside the crocodile without the fear of the enemy crocodile. Apart from all this, the male peacock that dances and walking with the spotted deers, spreading its beautiful feathers wide. And on the other shore of the river, sambar deers were also grazing. We forgot about the surroundings and stayed there for a long time, enjoying this rare and beautiful scene. To complete the varieties of species sighted in this safari, the next sight was of a male nilgai. As we mentioned in the previous videos, the male nilgais are mostly found grazing alone or with few other male animals. It is seen with females only during the mating period. The time is already 6:30 now. The lights are gradually diminishing, but still, it's bright, and we started our ride back to the hotel. Thus, my first safari in Zone 1 of this Ranthambore, after more than 10 in other zones, turned out to be a wonderful experience of animal and wildlife sightings, and I hope you all enjoyed these sightings as well. If you really enjoyed this video, please make your comment and subscribe to the channel.